since you've just released your numbers, let me start with that. I mean, you've increased your revenue to about 360 crores, but losses at the same time have also widened to 45 crores. We just wanted to understand what has happened and how soon you can, come back in the black after this.
Absolutely. First, thanks for having me here. Certainly last year we have increased our revenue by about 22%. The losses are largely on account of the negative credit cycle that the whole industry has seen. Starting about towards the end of FY24, we started to observe an increase in delinquencies.
Yeah.
That is where we have been focusing. At the same time, we also went through a transition to the expected credit loss framework. And so there is a much higher level of provisioning now on the balance sheet than what we have historically maintained. To the second part of your question, this is a temporary phase for us that we have gone through. We were profitable before this. And I'm glad to share with you that last quarter we have come back to profitability.
Okay.
So this is not an extended period of time for which we plan to make losses. This was
It was more of a one-time thing. Okay, since you're more heavily focused on MSME, if I should put it like that, and that is a sector that is quite exposed to the threat of tariffs. What has been the initial conversation? How much of your book do you think could be impacted if these 50% tariffs were to come in?
Yeah, so, in this context, thankfully, we don't have a large exposure to exporters.
Okay.
Right? Exporters will be less than 5% of our exposure.
5%.
And to that extent, we don't anticipate direct impact of tariffs on our customers. However, we are looking for second-order effects. Okay. So, for example, if exporters in the apparel sectors find it hard to export what they've built, and if they've got idle capacity lying around, will they produce and essentially make those goods available in the domestic market for a lower cost? And does that start to then affect our domestic customers? Right? So those are things that we are beginning to look through and understand which parts of the value chain may get affected, which will be relatively resilient to it, and accordingly tailor the kind of risk we are underwriting.
Got that. In terms of diversification as well now, your D2C lending has become almost 20% of your portfolio. Supply chain, I believe, is 6 to 8%. Which of these newer verticals, relatively newer verticals for you, are showing more traction, and how do you expect this mix to evolve? Will you continue to diversify away from MSMEs?
No, so our core focus will remain MSMEs. So even when we are doing D2C lending or we are doing supply chain financing, the borrower that we have is an MSME. Okay. In fact, the reason why we've introduced new products is because we see cross-sell potential to our existing customer base. So we started supply chain finance, we looked through our database, and we found that we had literally thousands of customers who are part of corporate supply chains, and we were lending to them as unsecured business loans, whereas we could have lent them in a more secure fashion through supply chain financing. So that is the core thinking behind why we are going into product diversification. D2C is now a 2-year-old initiative for us, and so it started getting to 20%. Supply chain finance is a 1-year-old initiative. It's at about 6 to 8%. We've also started loan against property mortgage business, which is a 6-month-old initiative. So I think as we roll this out over time, my expectation is that the supply chain finance and the lab business put together should start to get to about 20-25% of the business in a 3-year time frame.
And an AUM target that you could give us for the end of the year, including what you're doing through your NBFC?
Yeah, so the current AUM numbers of about 2,000 crores are what we manage across our NBFC and the marketplace platform. And that is how we build the entire business. Honestly, we've just come out of a credit cycle, which is a more consolidation move, not focus on growth, but focus on controlling credit costs. Now that we have passed that threshold, we are beginning to put the pedal back on growth. So in the next 6 months, the effort will be to revive growth and make sure that we can get on the growth trajectory for the next 2-3 years.
Will that require some capital raising?
No, at this point, we don't need that.
So there are no IPO plans on the horizon either?
Not in the near term. But from a private fundraise standpoint, currently we are adequately capitalized for at least next 12 months of growth. And then as we start delivering some of the growth, we will simultaneously think about how to capitalize ourselves for the next phase of growth.
All right, that's all we had on this special edition of Startup Street, coming to you from the Global Fintech Festival. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a goodbye and thank you from us. But don't go anywhere. More news and updates will continue after this short break.